All right, welcome everyone. Today we're going to step into the kitchen of language learning to talk about a method called task-based language teaching, or TBLT for short. Now, I want you to forget about all those dry, dusty textbooks. Instead, we're going to think about learning a new language like we're cooking an amazing meal, using a recipe for success. So let's get started. I mean, think about it for a second. Have you ever spent just hours and hours memorizing grammar rules, making flashcards for vocabulary, only to feel like you can't actually use the language in a real conversation? It's exactly like knowing the name of every single spice in the pantry, but never ever actually cooking a dish. Well, TBLT flips that whole idea on its head. It's all about getting your hands dirty and actually cooking with language right from day one. You know, every great recipe starts with quality ingredients. And TBLT is absolutely no different. Its core ingredients come straight from the science of how our brains actually learn a second language. These are the fundamental ideas that give our whole recipe its flavor, its structure, its magic. So first up, we have input. This is super simple. It's all the language you're exposed to, everything you hear, everything you read. It is the absolute foundation. You know, a classic example is a task where one person has to describe a shape and the other person has to draw it, just based on those verbal instructions. To get it right, you have to really process that input. It's the flour and water of our recipe. You just can't start cooking without it. And of course, after input comes output. This is you, actively using the language whether you're speaking it or writing it. It's that moment when you stop just passively taking information in and you start actively mixing those ingredients to create your own dish. And the brilliant thing about TBLT is that the tasks are designed to get you producing language totally naturally, without it feeling forced. And here it is, my favorite part, the secret sauce that makes it all work: negotiation of meaning. This is that real-time back-and-forth communication dance. Wait, what did you say? Or do you mean the big circle or the little one? This stuff is so powerful because it forces you to realize, oh, they didn't understand me, and then you have to find a new way to say it. That's where the real learning happens. It binds everything together. All right, we have gathered our ingredients. Now it is time to decide what we're actually going to cook. In the world of TBLT, our dishes are called tasks, and they basically come in two main and equally delicious varieties. And this is the key difference. On one hand, you've got real-world tasks. Think of this as your authentic, home-cooked meal. These are things you'd actually do in real life, like planning a vacation with a friend or filling out a college application. Then, on the other hand, you have pedagogical tasks, and you can think of these more like kitchen skills drills. They're specifically designed to help you practice a certain skill based on how our brains learn, like that shape drawing task, or maybe using a map to give someone directions. You really need both to become a well-rounded language chef. So, we have our ingredients and we have our recipe, but something's missing, right? You can't cook without heat. And in language learning, that heat, that essential energy that makes the whole transformation happen, is motivation. And this is such a critical part of the TBLT recipe. See, motivation isn't just a little sprinkle of salt you add at the end for taste. No. It's the oven itself. It has to be built into the very design of the learning process from the very beginning. So, how exactly does TBLT turn up the heat? Well, for starters, every single task has a really clear, concrete goal. You're not just conjugating verbs for no reason, you're trying to actually achieve something. Think about a task for kids like, let's find the lost animal. They're not thinking about grammar. They're just playing a game, using language as a tool to solve a fun little puzzle together. The motivation is literally baked right into the activity itself. Okay, the timer has just gone off, the kitchen smells incredible, and our dish is ready. Now for the final step, the plating. It's time to see how our TBLT meal stacks up against one from a more, let's say, traditional, grammar-focused kitchen. And wow, the difference is it's night and day. The traditional method is all about getting the grammar and the structure perfect. The language itself is the end goal. It's like knowing the scientific name for every spice, but being too afraid to ever cook with them. In the TBLT kitchen, though, the focus is all in completing the task. Language is just the tool you use to get there. You're using those spices to create something amazing, and you master them along the way. So if you take away just one thing from all of this, let it be this: TBLT fundamentally changes your relationship with a language. It shifts it from being some subject you have to passively study to being an active, practical tool you can use to get things done in the real world. And honestly, that is a complete game changer. And that really just leaves us with one final question for you. When it comes to learning a new language, are you going to keep just studying the menu? Or are you finally ready to step into the kitchen and start cooking?